Hello again, music fans. I am back here for another video, and this time it's going to be something new for me. It's going to be a thread response. I've actually never done one of these, where you respond to a thread, where somebody puts up a video with a topic and you make a video responding to that topic. In this case, it is the video made by Darcy's Six Strings Nine Lives, who has an absolutely excellent collection. I am totally envious. And his thread was to show two albums from four bands that are not very much mentioned here in the music community or the vinyl community, in general. And the wording of the thread was a bit vague. I did not know if he meant was he talking about four bands that were little known in the music community, or four albums by maybe well-known bands. All right, so because if we're talking about unknown bands, there's a million of those. And so what I'm decided to do is kind of like two and two. I'm going to show two very well-known bands, and the two albums by those bands that are kind of underrated, that kind of flew under the radar, and also two relatively unknown bands. All of these are from different genres. I got some classic metal, some classic rock, some progressive rock, and some blackened thrash metal. All right, let's get started. First with the classic rock. Okay, now a band everybody knows about is of course Kansas, the great American progressive rock band, and I was lucky enough to see them live once. And these are two albums in their discography that are not talked about as much, because usually when you have these classic bands or legacy bands, as they are sometimes called, their well-known discography are their early albums, and with Kansas that's very understandable, since Point of No Return, and their self-titled debut. All of those early 70s albums are really classics, But here I'm going to show their two latest studio albums. Now, between the two, there's a long stretch of time. The first one is from the year 2000, which is Somewhere to Elsewhere. All right? Somewhere to Elsewhere. Now, this may not be as good as the classic stuff from the 70s, but it is pretty damn good. All right? What you expect from Kansas, great melodies, very well thought out songs, a lot of progressive passages here, really cool stuff. Somewhere to Elsewhere. And then from here, for the next studio album, we had to wait, I believe, 16 or 17 years. Let's see, this is from 2016. 16 years later, we have the Prelude Implicit. There we go. And I got this on vinyl, and it's one of those vinyls that also has a, let's see if I can take it out. Yep, it includes a CD, which is pretty cool. All right, there's a 2 LP set, and these are new songs by Kansas, which have all of the classic rock sound to them. So if you like classic Kansas, this is the album for you. The Prelude Implicit, and look at that cool cover. It's a gatefold. That's the band as they are. Now there have been, of course, many lineup changes. All right, but a really good album. Let's go now with a classic metal band, and actually the most classic of all metal bands, Black Sabbath. Of course, just like in Kansas, their most well-known albums are their early albums from the 70s, the one with the Ozzy era. Then came the Dio albums, which are also very well known. But after that came another singer called Tony Martin, which is kind of overlooked, even though he's a really, really good singer. And he produced several. He made several really good albums with the band, among them these two. This was not his first album with the band, and I just showed this one in my cassette collection video, A Headless Cross. Classic metal all the way, really good songs, memorable songs, songs with good riffs, great singing there by Tony Martin, and a really great Black Sabbath-y vibe to the album. And the next one is overlooked by fans, not only because it's got Tony Martin on vocals, but because the album itself is not as heavy But the songs are really, really good. Here I'm talking about Tear by Black Sabbath. You know, and not only is this album overlooked, but many people kind of put it in their like worst Black Sabbath albums, in their discography. I completely disagree. This has really good songs on it, memorable songs. Anna Mundi, The Lawmaker, Jerusalem, The Sabbath Stones, really good stuff here. Anecdote: this was the first CD I ever bought back in 1990. I still have it, it's still in good condition, still playable. All right, now let's go now with some with the two unknown bands. All right, this band is called Witchery. This is a combination of thrash metal, black metal, with a little bit of death metal, but usually thrash and black. Here we have Dead Hot and Ready, which is not their first album, but one of their very first. This is a band that is comprised of members of other bands, and I believe it is the bass player from Arch Enemy plays here in Witchery. All right, some really good old school thrash in here, combined with elements of black metal. Because in the screeching vocals, a little bit of screeching vocals, not really that much, And this one is really good, which is a Symphony for the Devil. All right, they have like maybe 2 or 3 more albums after this one, which I have not gotten because they're a bit hard to find. All right, Witchery. If you're looking to find some new thrash metal, here you have it. Now let's go with the last group I'm going to show. This may be the most unknown of them all. This is progressive rock. Progressive rock. Not really progressive metal, just progressive rock. And this is the band called Circa, with 2 dots at the end. Circa ... Right? And this is a band that is very Yes-like. If you like Yes, you're going to love this. And it has former members and former members and future members of Yes. Let's see if we can go here and mention some of these guys. First we have Billy Sherwood on bass and vocals, who at the time of this making of this album was not in Yes, but right now he is. So he replaced Chris Squire on bass and vocals in Yes. We have Tony Kaye on keyboards, who was keyboardist for Yes. Alan White, also who was the drummer for Yes. I believe he still is, but he doesn't tour with the band. All right, so Alan White, longtime drummer for Yes ever since the 70s, and Jimmy Hahn, whom I don't believe has any connection to Yes. All right, but anyway, if you like Yes, this is for you, Circa. And this album, I believe it is the self-titled. It is a CD and a DVD. And in the DVD, they play their own stuff and also a lot of Yes stuff. They have a musical journey through 3 decades of Yes. So they do a lot of Yes tunes on the DVD. And here, as of the making of this video, is their latest studio album, which is Valley of the Windmill. Right there. Also very kind of laid back and mellow, with some rocking parts, but well, just like Yes, very ethereal, very good songs, long songs, just like Yes. There's only 4 songs on this album. Well, there you go. Some bands you may not have heard of, and some albums from bands you have heard of, but maybe you overlooked them in their discography, because they're not their quote-unquote classic stuff. All right. Thank you very much to Darcy 6 Strings 9 Lines for suggesting this thread. Thank you very much for watching, and so long.